Hello, everybody. We've got an amazing agent spotlight. So excited to be doing this with Owen Costello.
Yes,
Hey,
that's me.
that's you?
That is me.
Well, I'm Vince.
You can't
You're
complain.
Owen.
Yep.
This is going to be epic. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because Owen has absolutely crushed it over the last, 8 months?
8 months. Yeah.
As being a solo agent on your own.
Yeah.
In the past, and we're going to get into this, but in the past, you were on a team.
I was.
Right. And then you moved into being a solo agent. You're building your own business. And why don't you tell us what you've produced over the last, let's call it 8 months?
Call it 8 months. Yeah. I didn't sell anything for the first two. That's typically how it goes.
Yeah.
But over the past 6 months, it's been 13 homes and 5.2 million.
Wow. That is absolutely epic. Congrats, man.
I appreciate it.
How do you feel about it?
It's been a grind. It's been tough, but I do feel good about it. If I'm not going to lie. It feels pretty good.
What do you think you'll probably close, or rather, what's the goal to close by the end of the year?
So, I'm making a push. I want to try to get to 30 by the end of the year.
Awesome.
Which would put me, around the 15 million mark, I hope.
Nice, man.
If I'm doing my numbers right and everything. So that's the goal.
I love it, man. Well, I can't wait to see you hit it. I know you probably will. So let's back up a little bit. Why don't you tell us who's Owen? Like, what made you get into the business?
Sure.
Who's Owen, and how'd you get to the present day?
Yeah. Well, I actually moved down to Charleston in 2019. Didn't know anybody. My wife, she had moved here after we graduated college. Spent a couple of years long distance, and then I moved down in 2019. Didn't know a soul, didn't know anything about real estate, and I was making a career change because in Virginia, where I moved from, I was actually in the food and bev industry. Me and my brothers, we franchised Jimmy John's.
No way.
Yeah. So complete career change. But I knew a little bit about running my own business from doing that. So there's a lot of similarities. I knew about the real estate industry, and I knew that was kind of something I wanted to get my feet wet with eventually. And, moving down here, I just thought it was a perfect opportunity. The Charleston real estate market, it's a phenomenal one. Yeah. So made the move in 2019, transitioned, joined a team, like you said, right off the bat, and kind of took the ground running from there. After about a year and a half on the team, I started out as an ISA. Made my way up to a listing agent on the team. And then once I felt that I was ready to really take things out of my own, that's when, I really made the move, which was just back at the beginning of 2022.
Yeah, I love it. So, a couple of questions from that. Number one, what was it that, like, whether it was internal or maybe it was a metric that you hit, but what was it that made you feel you were good to make a move to go from a team to build your own business?
It wasn't a metric or anything. It was really just a feeling of whether I felt confident and ready enough.
Cool.
Whether I felt confident in my skills and abilities to make the jump and not really doubt myself, which I failed at doing. I've doubted myself a million times up to this
Don't
point.
We all?
Yeah. But it was really just a feeling of whether I was comfortable enough to finally make the jump.
I love it. And tell me, I love the fact that you and your brothers, you said, were owners of a Jimmy John's franchise.
We owned 3 Jimmy John's up in the Virginia area.
No way. So I love franchises. I'm fascinated by the business models. So what are some of the things that you learned in owning a business in a different industry, and how have you kind of taken those learnings into real estate to build your business now?
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, one, it's just the service-based industry. The working with customers face to face every single day was a big thing that I took from Jimmy John's to my real estate industry. Talking with people face to face, and really just taking the face to face interactions and serving them at a high level. Was really the biggest thing that I took. But also, it's just the grind of coming from the food and bev industry, where you're an owner. Everything is on you. You deal with staffing issues. And I can't tell you how many times I would have to come in after hours just to deliver a drive. And that grind, something I've really taken to the real estate industry and my business, and where I think that I've found a lot of success is because, I got so used to working crazy hours and putting in all this physical labor that, it's just kind of what I'm used to at this point. And, I've definitely scaled it back because I've burnt myself out a time or two, but taking that grind, from a service standpoint and to, an ownership standpoint of, I'm in charge of this and I have to, if somebody doesn't show up, it's me, it's on me. So going from that, and then, from a leadership standpoint of leading a staff and trying to find the right people has really helped me out in transitioning.
I love that. Yeah. And you brought up a really cool point, the burnout thing. And I get the amazing opportunity to talk to a lot of agents all the time. And this market over the last 2 years has been one crazy market, and it's been rip roaring, definitely a speed-based market. And we're kind of moving into a skills-based market. And you can probably agree. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
How have you balanced that need for kind of, let's call it, not being burnt out, like refreshing yourself or taking some time to get back to square one and to ground zero, so to speak, and that need for, hey, I'm going to hit this 30 units. Like, what have you done personally to make sure that happens?
Time blocking is the biggest thing. Cool. Prioritizing the most important work. Something I struggle with is trying to accomplish everything all at once in a million different ways. But I think that going back to, what Gary Keller always preaches, that's the one thing, figuring out what your most important work is, time blocking it, and then just doing that every single day. And that's ultimately how you can hit your numbers, as long as you know what that goal is and you know how to get there.
So a lot of people talk about time blocking and they hate the rigidity of it. Right? So how have you time blocked and made it work for you? And I know recently you just got married, right?
I did.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you and your bride. Yeah, that's awesome. So and now you have a wife, so I'm sure that you have a family. So how do you balance it all? And how do you use the rigidity that time blocking can create, make it really flexible for you?
Well, you got to learn how to say no to people, which is something I'm still learning, every single day. But
thanks for saying yes to me today.
It was a close net. Well, anytime from noon on is usually when I'm outside of my time blocks for prospecting purposes. So, I keep the same time block every day, and that's usually 8 to 12 for all lead gen activities. And I try to get 15 contacts from that awesome. 8 to 12 window. And it's either yes, I hit it, or no, I didn't.
Yeah.
And if I'm not reaching that number, then I'm not doing what I need to do to hit my goals. And I'm probably not going to get the 30 sales,
Yeah. I love that. Say that again. So what exactly do you do from 8 to 12?
Prospecting. I'm either calling, right now expireds and cancels they're going up. That number's changing. I think for a long time those were kind of dead leads because, anybody could sell a house at that point. So, those numbers are really going up. So, from 8 to 12, I'm calling expireds, I'm calling canceled, I'm calling for sale by owner listings. I'm making all my follow-ups. I'll do a social media post during that time, but everything that I do to prospect happens from that 8 to 12 window. And my goal is to get to 15 contacts by noon.
So again, we've been in a crazy market. Somebody wants to see a house at 10 o'clock in the morning. Give everybody kind of the script that you use. And what do? Sometimes I'm sure you go see the house.
It depends on the situation. Sometimes I will, and I might adjust. I don't like to. But, if the situation demands that, we need to be there at 10 for whatever reason that may be, the buyer's schedule, or, we need to see it as soon as possible because it's going to get multiple offers, stuff like that, then sometimes I will adjust. But most of the time it's, I just kind of tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Say, hey, like, I'm actually not available during that time, but is there a better time this afternoon where you might be able to go see it? Simple as that. I like to I don't like to use a script around it rather than just tell them the truth around the situation. Say, hey, I have another appointment booked. Yeah. I treat that 8 to 12 window as another appointment. Yeah. So if I just tell them I have another appointment booked at that time, it's like, oh, well, he's just not available then.
Yep. That's a great piece. I mean, I think, and it's funny, the simplicity in prioritizing the one thing that's going to help you hit your goals and just saying no to everything else, regardless if it feels like I should, is unbelievable. And I think a lot of people can learn from that.
For sure. And I'm still, I'm not going to act like I do it perfectly every single day, but if you can get good at it, that's going to lead you to a lot of success.
Yeah. So tell me, let's go back to kind of your business from the standpoint of where this 13 deals, 5.2 million has come from thus far, and what's going to create the 30 deals and about 15 million.
Yeah.
by the end of the year. Where do your leads come from? You talked about the expireds and canceled. So you're calling.
Right.
What else are you doing?
Prospecting, for sale by owners, canceleds, expireds. That's the majority of what I do for prospecting purposes.
Cool.
I'm pretty active on social media, so I get a lot of friends, friends of friends that reach out to me that way. So that's more of like a sphere basis. But really it comes from prospecting those three lead sources and just from creating relationships and, using social media to continue to nurture those relationships without having to like get on the phones and call people.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were to give anybody a tip for how to nurture relationships through social media or sphere, what would it be?
I'd just say, you can post a story once a day and a couple posts a week.
Yeah.
And I think that when you also when you meet people, when you create relationships and you create friends, don't reach out to them about real estate. Don't talk to them about real estate. Real estate will come up naturally because you're going to talk about yourself and you're going to talk about work.
Yeah.
So let it come up naturally, but just talk about, hey, let's go get coffee, next week or something like that. Let's go get lunch next week. Or if you want to go out, if you're the type of person that goes out to bars, like, hey, let's go get drinks.
Yeah.
This weekend, it will come up naturally.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to create a good, meaningful relationship and create actual friends rather than just a business relationship.
So you mean you just be yourself, ask them about them, and have a conversation to drive the relationship forward, and eventually real estate comes up?
All the time.
Funny how that
just
works.
Just text them, hey, you want to grab some lunch this week?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like I'm reaching out like lead genning, but I actually am.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, these are people that I do want to create a relationship and be friends with. So I don't want it to ever come off like I'm just trying to sell them.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go to some of the challenges and that you've had as you built your own business. What have they been and how have you overcome them?
Well, they've been endless.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge for me is, I kind of touched on it a little bit. It's trying to wear too many hats. And, you look at the people that are most successful in the real estate industry and like, you want to get there so bad, but it takes a long, long time. And they did it incrementally and they knew their priorities at each specific time. And for me, something that I really struggle with is one, patience. I want to be there like right now. Yeah. And then two, it's not trying to do everything that you can possibly do perfectly. Just focus on the most important work and do that consistently every single day, until you get too busy to hire somebody to get to the point where you can then delegate different tasks and focus on, the stuff that you really want to focus on.
Absolutely. So where do you see your business going? Do you see yourself hiring somebody to help and starting to scale a team? Do you see what does it all look like for you?
Yeah, I do plan to start a team. Costello and Co is the name of my team, but right now there's no co.
Yeah.
It's just me. And, but I do plan on growing to the point where I will hire somebody as soon as I feel like it's too much business for me to handle. Just follow the millionaire real estate model until I can't handle it all myself, and then I'll hire admin help.
Yeah, I love it. So you're going to follow a model.
I am.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
This is awesome, man. So one of when you said I have Costello and Co, I think it was, I know that Gary Keller, when he used to just be by himself down in Austin, Texas, he used to pick up the phone and say, this is Keller Williams Realty International.
Yeah.
And it's just a one-man shop out of Austin, Texas. And I love the just kind of almost speaking that into action. The vision of that is pretty epic. Yeah,
that's what I do. Unless the appointments, when I'm talking to people, I say we.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've gotten the question of, who's we? Like, who's on your team? Right. I'm just like, well, it's just me right now. I'm speaking it into existence, and I've gotten a good laugh out of some clients that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we talked about the challenges. Any mistakes that you made along the way?
A million. I feel like I've just been failing my way forward throughout the entire process. From, like I said, just trying to wear a million different hats and trying to focus on a million different things at once and being perfect at every single one instead of focusing on really the one thing that's going to lead me to success has been my biggest struggle and still is. Sometimes I still feel like I'm focusing too much time on areas and overcomplicating it where I can just stick to the 8 to 12 time block, and I do that all the time. where I'm spreading myself too thin and trying to be the man in every single aspect when I'm not. I'm just a guy.
Yeah, I love that, man. So if you were to give any advice to people that want to go and crush it just like you, what would it be?
Find somebody who's had success before you and do exactly what they do.
Yeah.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So find a mentor, join a team where you can learn from somebody who's had a lot of success in the past, and then do exactly what they do, add your own creativity and personality to it. But it's that simple. I mean, it's easier said than done, but it really is. Simple doesn't mean easy. It's a simple path to success, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
Dude, that is a great way to end it. That was absolutely epic. I really appreciate it. You're crushing it, man.
Appreciate it.
And anything you need, let me know. But we're humbled to be in business with you.
Sounds good. I love it here.
Thanks, man. Later.